What if I told you that the very fact you're watching this right now is a sign? One that's been orchestrated from realms far beyond what your natural eyes can see. You didn't stumble across this by chance. This isn't just another video on your feed. This is a divine appointment. A spiritual alarm clock going off in your soul, calling you to remember what you've always known deep inside. You are different. You are chosen. And someone with influence, power, and divine instruction knows it too. Right now, a God-ordained government official, a person positioned in the upper realms of authority, is being led to you. Not because of what you've done, but because of who you are and what you carry. They've felt the pull. They've sensed the shift. And now, they are being guided to find you. You might be wondering, why me? And that's exactly the question you need to sit with, because the answer will unlock everything. You see, there's something about you that doesn't blend in. Maybe you've spent your life trying to silence that inner feeling that you were meant for more, trying to push down the dreams that seem too big to speak aloud. But the truth is, that quiet pull in your chest, that recurring knowing that you're here for something greater, it's not your imagination, it's your calling. The world has tried to label you, contain you, break you, but heaven has been marking you, molding you, and preparing you. And now, the signal has gone out. Someone with both spiritual discernment and worldly authority has picked up on your frequency. And when divine timing aligns with earthly power, destinies collide. That collision is coming. And it's coming for you. This official isn't looking for clout or favors. They're not searching for popularity or influence. They already have that. What they're looking for is alignment. They've seen what others couldn't. They've felt drawn to a presence they can't explain. And that presence is you. You are the answer to something they've been seeking. A solution wearing human skin. There is a government-level assignment tied to your name. One that requires the kind of vision, strength, and spiritual authority that only a chosen one can bring. You've felt overlooked, but that's only because you've been hidden. Hidden doesn't mean forgotten. It means protected, set apart, preserved for a moment such as this. Think back. Think about how often you felt different, not better, just set apart. How often you've walked into a room and felt every eye glance your way, even if you said nothing. How you've noticed things others ignore, sensed things before they happened, felt deeply in ways people don't understand. This wasn't random. It's been divine training. You've been walking through the fire, but not to burn, to refine. Because the weight of what you're called to carry can't be handled by the average. And here's the part most people will never tell you. The greater your calling, the greater your preparation. That pain, that silence, that season of feeling stuck or unseen, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. What you carry within you isn't just talent, it's presence, it's divine resonance. You shift energy when you walk into places. You cause discomfort in people who aren't aligned with light. And now, someone who is aligned with light, someone appointed by heaven and stationed in power, has received the nudge, the vision, the instruction. They're searching for the one, and that one is you. You didn't fit in because you were never meant to. You didn't fail because you were never playing by the world's rules. You were being trained under divine curriculum. And now it's time. You are not here just to watch others rise. You are the one being called, the one being summoned, the one this world has been waiting for. And this moment right here, is the activation. A door is opening. A meeting is being arranged. And heaven is asking you one question. Will you walk through it? You've always known there was something more. That inner tension, that feeling of not belonging, that ache that couldn't be explained. It was never about lack. It was about greatness pressing against the edges of a life that's too small to contain your calling. You've seen glimpses of who you are in dreams, in quiet moments, in flashes of clarity. And maybe you buried it under bills, doubt, and heartbreak. But God never buried it. He's been watering it. And now, that seed is ready to grow. That dream is ready to live. You are being called into rooms you haven't even imagined yet. And the person chosen to find you? They're already on their way. This isn't a coincidence. It's a confirmation. You've been chosen. You've been set apart. And the world is about to see what heaven already knows. Your time is here. There's something happening behind the scenes of your life that you haven't been told. Something bigger than your job, your daily routine, or even the people around you. While you've been walking through your own private battles, questioning your purpose, and wondering when your breakthrough will come, someone has been watching. And no, this isn't some vague metaphor. This is very real. There are people in high places, those with the kind of access you can't buy, the kind of reach that shifts nations, who have begun to notice you. Not because you're flashy or loud, not because you've shouted your dreams from the rooftops, but because your spirit speaks louder than words ever could. You've sent out a signal through your consistency, your resilience, your unshakable inner knowing. And someone tuned into that frequency, quietly, consistently, intentionally. The chosen are often hidden, but they are never unnoticed. You may think your struggles have made you invisible, but they've actually made you magnetic to the right eyes. There are divine watchers, people sent by God into places of power, operating like kingdom scouts, who are searching not for popularity, but for purpose. They don't care about social status. They're not moved by external appearances. They're listening for something deeper, a voice that doesn't speak from the mouth, but from the soul. And that voice is yours. You've been drawing attention not by trying, but by being. You've endured storms and still showed up. You've been overlooked by people, but never by God. And now, those He has placed in influential circles are sensing that it's time to find you. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not in a crowd, but in your quiet corner of preparation. Think about it. The most powerful figures in history didn't rise when the world expected it. They were found in fields, in prisons, in hidden places. Joseph was in a cell when Pharaoh called for him. David was with sheep when the prophet anointed him. Esther was an orphan before she entered the palace. And you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you are in your hidden season, but not for much longer. There is someone with divine instruction scanning the horizon, looking for a specific kind of spirit. A spirit like yours. They've seen glimpses, felt divine nudges, had dreams they didn't understand. Until now. Until your energy, your purpose, your name came into alignment with their search. And soon, they will reach out. The message will come. The invitation will arrive. Because God never hides what He's not planning to reveal. And your reveal is on the way. So don't mistake the silence around you for absence. Heaven has been loud on your behalf. And those who are assigned to find you are already on the move. The ones God appoints never move too soon, and never too late. They arrive at the exact moment destiny calls for it. And for you, that moment is close. You've waited long enough. You've questioned long enough. You've prepared quietly, and now heaven is announcing your presence to the right people. A divine connection is forming, and it's about to interrupt your ordinary life with extraordinary purpose. Now picture this. Imagine receiving a message, unexpected, but perfectly timed. A request to meet, but not from someone random, from someone you didn't even know knew your name. A high-level official, someone the world sees as powerful, yet they see something more in you. Not the surface version of you, not the you shaped by survival, but the true you, the one carrying purpose beyond words. They don't want to meet for politics or performance. This meeting isn't about paperwork or protocol. It's about prophecy. They've been led to you because you have a piece of the puzzle they can't move forward without. You hold something sacred, something irreplaceable, and their mission can't move forward without it. This is the kind of moment that can't be manufactured. You can't network your way into it. You can't fake your way into the room. This kind of access only opens when heaven writes your name on the agenda, and that's what's happening. A private meeting is being prepared, not for flattery, not for praise, but for transfer. Transfer of wisdom, transfer of favor, transfer of responsibility and abundance. This is what divine positioning looks like. When someone who has the power to open doors realizes you are the key. Let that sink in. They aren't doing you a favor. They're fulfilling a heavenly assignment by connecting with you, because they've realized what God has already declared. Your presence carries a blueprint, a strategy, a divine answer to a problem they couldn't solve with money or manpower. And now, they've stopped looking everywhere else. They're looking for you. It's not about credentials, it's about calling. Not about reputation, but revelation. They were shown something that led them to you. And when that door opens, it won't just change your environment, it will activate your next level. And still, the most important part is this. Will you be ready when the call comes? Will you recognize the significance of the moment? Or will you question yourself into hesitation? Everything you've been through has been preparing you for this. Every moment you stayed faithful when it felt pointless. Every time you believed when it looked hopeless. Every time you walked away from what wasn't meant for you. Even when it hurt. That wasn't loss. That was spiritual weight training. Because the assignment ahead requires someone who doesn't just want power, but can carry it with integrity. There's a meeting coming that's not just about you. It's about everyone your obedience will affect. The generations after you, the people assigned to your leadership, the chains your breakthrough will break for others. And the meeting won't feel like a spotlight. It will feel like alignment. You'll know. Your spirit will recognize it. Your preparation will meet your opportunity. And what starts as a conversation will lead to transformation. This is more than a chance encounter. This is prophecy fulfilled. And the time is almost here. Stay alert, chosen one. The invitation is coming. You've been through storms that would have shattered others. You've faced pressure that would have crushed most. You've lost people, opportunities, time, and maybe even yourself for a season. And still, you're here. Still breathing. Still believing. Still waiting for something deep inside to finally make sense. But what if I told you, none of it was wasted? What if the pain wasn't just suffering, but strategy? What if the battles you fought weren't punishments, but proof that you're carrying something that hell itself wanted to stop? You see, people will look at you and see what you appear to be now, but they don't know the nights you cried in silence, the days you smiled while breaking, the moments you kept walking when everything in you said to give up. That's not weakness. That's evidence. Evidence that you were built differently. That you were chosen not because life would be easy for you, but because God could trust you with difficulty and still know you'd get back up. Let's be honest, the pain made you question everything. It made you doubt if the vision you saw years ago was even real. You looked around and saw others winning while you kept losing. People you helped moved on, and those you trusted walked away. You've cried prayers that felt unanswered. You've started things with fire and ended them in silence. But through it all, you were being shaped. Not punished, but prepared. The kind of preparation that can't be taught in classrooms or found in books. It has to be lived. It has to be walked. You were being trained in the dark so you could be trusted in the light. The very things that tried to break you were the tools used to build you. And whether you knew it or not, God was watching the whole time. Not with disappointment, but with pride. Because no matter how broken you felt, you never broke completely. No matter how low you sank, you never let go of hope completely. And now, that strength is your weapon. That pain is your power. Look closely at the patterns. Every setback brought you wisdom. Every heartbreak made you more discerning. Every delay taught you patience. Every loss revealed who was really for you. You've been equipped with the kind of insight you can't fake. You've gained eyes to see beyond the surface. You've gained a heart that doesn't fold under pressure. And now you're not just a survivor. You're a carrier of something sacred. And heaven is preparing to honor everything you've endured. Not by giving you back the same things you lost, but by giving you something greater than you even asked for. This is the law of divine compensation. What was taken from you will return multiplied, not just in quantity, but in quality. Better connections, better opportunities, better clarity, but above all, purpose. Because now you're ready. You've been refined, and heaven doesn't waste oil on what isn't prepared to pour. That's why your next season isn't going to look like your last one, because you're not the same person anymore. You've outgrown who you used to be. The suffering was never designed to define you. It was designed to reveal you. The version of you that's rising now is one that has walked through fire and didn't lose the flame. And this time, when God positions you in rooms of influence, in places of power, you won't walk in needing validation. You'll walk in carrying authority. Because the pain you've overcome becomes the platform you now stand on. That's the beauty of divine transformation. What tried to break you becomes the very thing that confirms you were chosen all along. But what if I told you that this isn't just about surviving the pain? It's about stepping into a transfer. Something bigger is happening right now in the unseen realms. There is a divine shift taking place, and it's not just spiritual, it's tangible. A wealth transfer, an opportunity shift, a repositioning of influence. And it's not going to those who look ready. It's going to those who were forged ready, to those who've been broken, emptied, rebuilt, and aligned, to those who have been faithful over little, who stayed the course in obscurity, who remained true when no one was clapping. This is a kingdom exchange, and it's only being handed to those who can handle it, those like you. You've seen it in glimpses, felt it in your spirit, that sense that things are about to flip in your favor, that strange calm in the middle of chaos, that unusual boldness rising in your chest. That's not just hope. That's prophecy beginning to unfold. You're not crazy for believing something bigger is coming. You're discerning. You're aligned. And now, the heavens are responding to what you've endured. The doors that were once closed are unlocking, not because you forced them, but because you've been positioned properly. And this time, when the blessing comes, it won't come with strings. It won't come as a test. It will come as a confirmation. But hear me closely. This transfer isn't about money alone. It's about trust. Can God trust you to carry what others mishandled? Can He trust you to steward influence with integrity? Can He trust you to remember the silent seasons once the spotlight comes? That's what this shift is about. And chosen one, everything you've been through was training for this very moment. The tears, the silence, the confusion. It was never a detour. It was divine alignment. You are stepping into a season where what once ran from you will now chase you. Resources, relationships, revelations, they're all coming. Not because you begged, but because you became. You became the kind of vessel that heaven can flow through. You became the kind of leader who leads with empathy, not ego. The kind of warrior who doesn't fight for power, but for purpose. That's who you are now. And that's why this next chapter will not be like anything you've seen before. God is preparing to elevate you, not just for your sake, but because your rise is tied to the deliverance of others. People you haven't met yet are waiting on the breakthrough that your obedience will unlock. The kingdom transfer that's coming to your life is generational. It's legacy. It's alignment. And you, yes, you, are ready. The pain didn't destroy you. The pressure didn't crush you. It prepared you. Now step forward and take what's already yours. The shift has begun. The transfer is near. And your name is already written on what's coming. There's a voice inside you that's always been louder than the noise around you. Even in moments when everything felt confusing, when life seemed to collapse in slow motion, there was still something whispering. This isn't it. There's more. Keep going. You've carried that sense your entire life. Since childhood, even before you could articulate it, you knew. You sensed things that others didn't. You noticed what they missed. You felt out of place, not because you were lacking anything, but because you were carrying something that didn't fit inside ordinary spaces. It wasn't ego. It wasn't fantasy. It was foresight. It was divine intelligence stirring within you, preparing you to see and sense beyond the physical. And now, that inner voice is no longer a whisper. It's a roar. Because you're no longer in the season of guessing. You're in the season of knowing. Knowing who you are. Knowing what you're called to. Knowing that the time is near. This voice inside you, it's always been accurate, even when you doubted it. It told you when to walk away from situations that seemed promising on the surface, but were poisoned at the root. It pulled you out of relationships that looked perfect to others, but didn't feel right in your spirit. It stopped you from compromising when everything in your flesh wanted to settle. That wasn't just intuition. That was divine discernment. It was heaven guarding the gift within you, refusing to let you waste it on temporary people, surface-level opportunities, or quick success that lacked sustainability. The more you tried to silence it, the louder it became. Because that voice wasn't just guiding you, it was growing you into someone who could stand alone if needed, into someone who didn't need confirmation to move, only conviction, into someone who could walk by faith without needing applause. You've been hearing this voice all along, and now it's calling you into your next, not with fear, not with pressure, but with clarity. Because you are finally aligned enough to recognize the sound of God's instruction when it shows up in your spirit. No more asking for signs every 5 minutes. No more doubting your gifts. No more shrinking back when opportunities come. You have entered the season where you move because you know. Because when you move with divine knowing, you don't second guess. You don't beg for validation. You don't try to convince anyone. You just walk. And when you walk, things open. Favor flows. People notice. Not because you're chasing anything, but because everything meant for you recognizes the authority you now walk in. But here's the test that comes with this gift. Will you trust your knowing when it doesn't make sense on paper? Will you follow the prompting when it leads you into unfamiliar territory? Will you say yes when there's no guarantee? That's the threshold you're standing on right now. Not a decision between good and bad, but between safe and sacred. And many people miss their moment because they pause too long. They look for logic in a season that requires faith. But you, chosen one, you've been conditioned by fire. You've been tested in silence. You've learned how to discern God's whisper in the chaos. And that's why this time, when the prompting comes, you won't hesitate. You'll recognize it as the divine invitation it is. The invitation to unlock the very thing you've been praying for all along. Because the knowing in you isn't just for survival anymore. It's for direction, for acceleration, for elevation. And it's time. What comes next is not about proving anything to anyone. It's about stepping fully into what you've already been equipped for. No more apologizing for your clarity. No more holding back because others are uncomfortable with your certainty. You have permission to trust your gift, to trust your discernment, to trust your alignment. You've seen enough, felt enough, lived through enough to know when God is speaking. And now it's time to say the word that changes everything. Yes. Yes is powerful. It's not just a response, it's a release. When you say yes, you tell heaven that you're ready. You tell fear that it no longer has authority. You tell the old version of yourself that it's time to step aside and make room for the one who's been waiting in the wings. But this yes, it's not a casual one. It's the kind of yes that shifts atmospheres, the kind that unlocks doors you didn't even knock on, the kind that realigns timelines, accelerates destiny, and demands that the world around you adjust to the anointing you carry. It won't always make sense at first. Saying yes might mean letting go of something familiar. It might mean stepping into something that scares you. But trust this, everything you've prayed for is waiting on the other side of that yes. And what makes this different than before is that now, your yes is coming from a place of maturity. You're not saying yes because you're desperate. You're saying yes because you're ready. You're not hoping anymore, you know. And when a chosen one says yes in full alignment, all of heaven responds. Opportunities that were once blocked begin to flow. People you were never able to reach begin to reach for you. Provision shows up in strange, undeniable ways. Not because you're chasing it, but because it's chasing the version of you that finally decided to show up. You were never meant to hustle for your destiny. You were meant to host it. And the moment you step fully into agreement with who you are, everything you need will respond. But this yes, it also comes with responsibility. To move with integrity, to stay grounded, to lead from love, not ego. To remember that this isn't just about your blessing, it's about your becoming. You're not just stepping into wealth or influence or visibility, you're stepping into purpose. And purpose doesn't just change your life, it changes everyone connected to you. The moment you say yes to your true assignment, chains begin to fall off people you haven't even met yet. Your yes sends out a spiritual ripple that breaks cycles in families, unlocks vision in communities, and makes room for others to rise. This is why you've been through so much, why your path hasn't looked like anyone else's. You weren't just being tested, you were being trusted. And now, the same God who preserved you in private is presenting you in power. The yes you say today isn't just for a moment, it's for a movement. So don't second guess it, don't overthink it. Say it boldly, say it with your whole chest. Say it with the kind of authority that tells every closed door, every broken past, and every lingering doubt. I'm not going back, I'm not shrinking, I'm not hiding. I say yes. And when you say it, really say it, the universe will bend, time will shift, the earth will respond, and heaven will move on your behalf. Because chosen one, your yes just set everything in motion. There's something powerful you need to understand. Your life is not just about you. The calling on your name carries a ripple effect that stretches far beyond what your eyes can see. You were never meant to simply exist, succeed, and stop there. No, your breakthrough is generational. Your healing is historical. Your rise is a trigger for revival. When a chosen one steps into their purpose, it's not just about personal elevation. It's about opening doors that others didn't even know existed. Think about it. Every time you overcame something you thought would destroy you, someone around you silently found the strength to keep going. Every time you refused to stay silent, someone else found their voice. Every time you chose growth over bitterness, someone else saw what forgiveness could look like. You've been impacting lives without even realizing it. There are people who have watched your life and never told you they were watching. People who saw your resilience and silently decided not to give up. People who modeled their next step after seeing how you kept moving forward, even in pain. This is what happens when you're chosen. You become a living mirror of what's possible. And now, your next step isn't just about your blessing. It's about releasing the dam that's been holding back blessings for others too. When you rise, others follow. When you walk through your open door, you leave it cracked for someone else. And when you say yes to your purpose, you ignite permission in others to do the same. You've been planted in places you didn't choose. You've walked through seasons you didn't want, but everything was by design. You've been strategically positioned in your family, in your city, in your generation, to be the one that shifts the storyline. The cycle breaker, the curse ender, the chain destroyer. And maybe you've questioned why the weight felt so heavy, why it seemed like you had to grow up faster, cry harder, fight longer. It's because what you carry is weighty. Your calling doesn't just sit on your shoulders, it covers others under its reach. And God trusted you with that. Not because you're perfect, not because you never fall, but because He knew you'd get back up. Because He knew that no matter how hard it got, you wouldn't quit. And that kind of spirit, that kind of soul, is exactly what's needed to shift atmospheres and rewrite stories. The decisions you make now, the way you choose to show up in this season, will echo through generations. Every time you choose purpose over comfort, every time you pick faith over fear, you're not just making a choice for yourself. You're laying bricks on a path for someone else to walk. The young person who thinks they're too broken. The elder who thinks it's too late. The child who just needs to see one example of what resilience and faith look like in real life. You're the example, not because you wanted to be, but because you were called to be. And now, heaven is shining a spotlight on your obedience, not to make you famous, but to make you effective. You are the spark, the one that ignites others, the one that shakes people awake, not with noise, but with presence. When you walk in your fullness, it becomes impossible for others to stay asleep to theirs. This is why your yes matters so much, why your alignment is urgent. Because when a chosen one moves in divine authority, heaven responds, but so does earth. Resources begin to flow, people begin to gather, connections begin to spark, not because you're chasing it, but because you've become it. You've become the magnet, the well, the portal through which God's provision and strategy are now flowing. And now, here you are, standing at the edge of everything, the moment you felt coming for years, the moment that was prophesied before you were born, the moment that heaven has been preparing you for, even when you didn't know it. And it's not coming with a loud bang or flashing lights. It's arriving in the form of a decision, a moment of clarity that requires you to move with boldness, to not wait for confirmation from people who were never assigned to understand your purpose, to not explain your next step to people who are still committed to your old identity, to not shrink just because you've never seen someone else walk this path before. You are not supposed to follow a blueprint. You are the blueprint. So what happens next? You step, you rise, you speak, you build, you release, you become. Fully, freely, unapologetically. You take every lesson, every scar, every prayer, and you let it fuel you forward. You stop asking, "Am I ready?" and start declaring, "I'm chosen." Because readiness is not about having it all together. It's about being willing to move when God says, move. It's about trusting the fire that built you, the spirit that guides you, and the calling that won't let you sleep. This is the final call, chosen one. The call to step into everything that has been hovering just outside your reach, to walk into rooms that are already prepared for you, to meet with people whose names carry weight, but whose spirits have been waiting on you. You're not the underdog anymore. You're not in hiding. You're not recovering. You're arriving. And when you arrive, everything around you shifts. Environments change. Minds awaken. Doors swing open. Not because of who you're connected to, but because of who you are. A vessel, a light, a divine disruptor. So breathe, stand tall, say it out loud if you have to. I am ready. I am chosen. I was made for this moment. Say it until your fear gets tired. Say it until every chain breaks. Say it until every piece of you believes it. Because once you step into this next level, once you fully align with heaven's assignment, there's no going back. The ripple effect is already in motion, and the world has no idea what's about to be released through you. But heaven does, and it's smiling. because you finally said yes. And now everything begins.